happy to join this panel. My name is Tom. I live in the Netherlands. I grew up in the Netherlands and currently live in Amsterdam. I'm gay, although I would describe my identity a bit broader if we had time, because there's more that defines me, I think. I work at PwC, the global audit and consulting firm, where I work in the corporate sustainability department and lead our projects around the sustainable development goals and people engagement for the sustainability agenda.
And hello everyone, I'm Arindam. I am from India, but as I speak now, I'm based out of Indonesia. So having been living in this country since 2012, lived a couple of years in China and again back here. So pretty much roamed within the Asia and have kind of explored, seen and traveled along with the places also different facets of sexual journey, and would be happy. I'm very happy here to share to the broader team, and thanks PayU for the opportunity giving it here. So I'm looking forward to this discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So Adam Pawłowski, I've been working for PayU for more than 4 years now. So I'm very happy that this panel is taking place now. So it's also, I think, a huge achievement of all people involved, and I'm really happy that we could meet today. I'm gay. I'm a Polish sales team member, but I'm also responsible for our global merchants. And I used to live in Warsaw, but with my boyfriend 8 months ago, we moved to Berlin. So I also live in Berlin now.
Arindam, I remember in our preparation conversation, we spoke a little bit about coming out to the rest of the world, but there's also this process that needs to happen first, right? Which is all around acknowledging your full identity towards yourself. Would love to hear a bit more about how that was for you, and if you can elaborate there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Stacey, for this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, just to be more descriptive, that coming out for me wasn't too declarative, In fact, back in those days, I did not know what it actually means by coming out, in real sense. So for me, the so-called coming out have been in various peripheral statements, like, for example, choosing certain colors or some kind of beauty regime habits that's not meant for men. I mean, it's not forbidden, but it's like not observed that men is practicing this, like having a pedicure or like, the grooming habits, and then liking towards certain designs, the usual colors, palettes, So these things were more of the certain, manifestations of expressions, and even the way I speak that at that point in time, that using more hands and expressive eyes. So those have been my subtle journey and nuances of kind of coming out and various expressions. Now, that were deemed to have kind of been symptomatic disorders, at that point in time, like back in late 90s and early 2000. So I think this passage of time really supported me and allowed me to reflect and not got into rushed, strange decisions then, like, many of my friends and people I know leaving a dual life. Okay, I couldn't express at the right point, but I'm living like a life of a straight man. I mean, many of my friends are doing that, right? I mean, inherent they are gay, but they're living a life of a straight man just to be. So just this help, like when you really move out of your familiar domain, reach a certain age and be more confident, right? Really to express yourself or conduct. Then you discover the various nuances of sexuality. And then more I indulge into the self-exploratory, cryptic discoveries of inner self, it helped me to sharpen my identity. And that's how the self-awareness became much more prominent. So that's where your acknowledgement, and that's where the big aha starts. Okay, this is you. I mean, you're not in this line, and you have a definitive identity towards it. Broadly, and if I think around post 2010, there have been a lot, in the paramount like discussions that self-awareness became and identity awareness. A lot of these discussions came out, which were not prevalent during my growing up time. And I remember that, and it was a funny incident, right, between 2004, 2008, when I was like a little bit early stage of my professional career, like early to middle. The families and my extended families were expecting to get me married at a certain age, like the arranged marriage system back in India still. So I first felt that point in time, I was enjoying the process of meeting and seeing, but that's like, I was questioning the fitment, that entire process. And I was starting to wonder, like, am I in the right forum and place, like really choosing and seeing girl? And I could not make any distinction really that meeting, like how this is different than meeting your prospect bride versus a new female friend, you know. I'm not developing a strong liking or a strong disliking, but I wasn't able to articulate myself that. And I'm talking about like a 12, 15 years back. Yeah. So then, you know, that thing of moving to a different city, like then I realized like growing up and some kind of growing up in foreign countries, like when I started to join in the Zumba classes and all, regardless whether the people are saying like gay or not, but I wasn't so like less care about it. I wasn't too conscious, I would say. I wasn't never afraid of things. It's just like consciousness coming in. So then like living in Indonesia, you're accepting different sides of feminine side. They find me entertaining, but yes, this country, like where I live in Indonesia, they're also close-minded, living in denial, but it's more accepting also. So then shades after shades, it's like your onion peels open up, you know. And many people used to think, oh, okay, I was straight. Maybe it's just the confusion I'm leading into it. So then I headed to China, and then I started to engage with various communities. I started to watch more and more queer film contents, meeting different kind of people. A lot of open mics used to happen there, and that's how it was a gradual process there. And yeah, so broadly that about it, to really get into like a full journey. And it were not like, even today, like I don't feel that, you know, that you can be declarative just as an announcement. You can express yourself in various verbatim, and verbatim can be the way you wear, can be the way you express, can be the way you write, or can be the way you conduct yourself. So that's the whole ensemble of, like, you know, the coming out. That's from me, I guess.
I'd like us to switch gear now and talk a little bit about LGBTQ plus in the work environment. And I think for me and hopefully for a lot of our audience, you know, curious to see what it is that we don't do, what good allyship looks like. So Tom, maybe continuing our conversation with you, I know you work for a global consulting firm. You know, how and what does a real inclusive workplace help you thrive? What are some of the things that help you thrive?
Yeah, I think there's a few layers to that. So to me, it really starts with sort of the basic conditions, the tangible and hard side of the diversity and inclusion agenda, and then moves up to the soft side and a truly inclusive culture and the ability to really connect with your colleagues at a personal level. And when I say basic conditions, I refer to things like a clear commitment by leadership to diversity and inclusion, a non-discrimination policy, and equal opportunities for progression or representation in client-facing roles, for example. Yeah, and then if you have these things in place, then that probably enables you to function properly. But for me, not yet to thrive. So to thrive, I think you would really need that inclusive culture, and I think that's best explained by an example from my own experiences. So a few years ago, I found myself avoiding to have lunch with colleagues because I simply couldn't participate in the conversations they were having about soccer, women, cars, and I also really felt that they weren't interested in my stories and the things that matter in my life. So that created a sort of disconnect which doesn't make you a happier person in the workplace. And then at a certain moment, I was doing quite a challenging project, and I was sitting prepared for a meeting at 9 o'clock Monday morning, and the director leading that project came to me and says, "Close your laptop. We're going to have coffee now, and I want over the next half hour, I want to hear all about your weekend." And he kept asking me like detailed questions about the party I attended and whether I had fun. And that was such a different experience. And I think that personal connection is what makes me thrive. So I think ultimately I would say that you would hope for all your colleagues to appreciate your differences, and then for maybe a select group of colleagues to really don't see those differences anymore, and to really feel that you can connect with them at a personal level.
Great, thank you so much for sharing. So lots of good learnings there, I think, for us as a organization, senior leadership buy-in, really making this part of our strategic agenda. But at least for me, also at a personal level, what I hear you saying is it's about curiosity, and through authentic curiosity in the person that you're interacting with, right? That makes build that inclusive environment.
Yeah, genuine interest from your colleagues in who you are and what drives you, and being working in a heteronormative organization, it's sometimes, I think, a bit challenging to find that sort of common ground to ask those questions, because it sometimes can be different worlds people are living in, and to really make an effort to get to know each other at a personal level, that can really make a difference in the workplace, for me at least. Yeah,
great point. And I think it's a bit of an echo, and it's been, as we are on this D&I journey in PayU, it's always about finding this balance between having the courage and the curiosity to just ask versus not getting into this, oh, can I ask this? Am I crossing a line? So what I hear you saying is practice that curiosity and see what happens, because it does build more inclusion.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, we had this quote around it, I still have it, around our inclusion and diversity agenda, and that is about becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable. So, get out there, ask those questions, and that won't be easy, but at least we need to try to better understand each other.
Adam, let's switch over to you. Being part of our PayU family and a real custodian of driving our D&I agenda. Curious to hear how you have seen PayU changing over time when it comes to diversity and inclusion. Any stories that you can share?
About PayU, of course, I've always was open about my orientation and all this stuff. But at the beginning, of course, I don't introduce myself. Hello, I'm Adam, I'm gay, because no one does it in this way. And at the very beginning of my journey in PayU, I know that people were wondering if he is gay, if he's gay. And it was very funny for me, because I was watching this and I had fun anyway, but no one asked me, directly. So I said, okay, so let's play this game. Of course, I'm kidding, but because it was really funny situation. Actually, if anything is changing within PayU, I think that this meeting shows that it does. It is changing. I think that my attitude is that if you want to change something, don't wait for change, and just start doing. Initiate something and start working on it. So that's why also in Poland locally we had many D&I meetings also with our disabled people and all this stuff. To present it, the stories, people who we don't meet every day, so to present it to my colleagues.
It sounds like it almost summarizes why Pride Month is still around, right? It's really to celebrate the strong people, I think, that we really have today on our panel, being happy and embracing their full identity, and at the same time acknowledging that is not true for everyone across the globe, and that there's work to be done still, right? So that was a really powerful story. Thank you again for sharing.